In terms of how we represent the world in terms of mental pictures, sounds, soundtracks, internal sensations. We have a secondary form of representation, which is language. So in terms of primary representation, or what we call first access, in terms of representational systems, each representational system can be examined in terms of its component parts. So for example, in the visual system, when you make a mental image or recall an image from the past, that image will have a certain size, a certain spatial location. It could be in black and white or in colour. It may have a particular colour dominance, a directional lighting. It could be clear, it could be fuzzy, it could be close to you, it could be far away. It could be fairly bright or it could be dull. So these subcomponents are submodalities, and in this example we're looking at visual submodalities. In the auditory system, we can have things like something can be in it could be in mono or stereo. It might have a particular tonal quality, a direction in terms of where you're hearing the sound coming from, a particular speed, tempo, a particular rhythm, etc. In the kinesthetic system, any sensation has a particular location, it has an area, it has a mass, it might have a particular texture, it may have a temperature, it may have a pressure, it may have a particular direction of movement, it may or may not have movement, it may have a particular rhythm or vibration, and so on and so forth. So these qualities within each representational system, which is what we see here, feel, are known as submodalities. And what's interesting about submodalities is that our experiences will be coded with different combinations or constellations of submodalities. So for example, in terms of something that you believe to be true, something that you know is true for you, that will have a particular organisation of submodalities. And if you wanted to explore this, if you contrasted it with, let's say, something you doubt, if you compare the two, there'll be different qualities in submodalities. So for one person, a belief may be closer, larger, brighter, in colour. It could be 3 dimensions, it could be moving. And for that person, let's say a doubt may be, it could be a double image, it could be further away, it could be framed, it could be in black and white. It could have a particular directional lighting, or the images may be moving foreground, background. So those are just examples. What's interesting is each individual, for any experience in terms of how that is coded, this is the combination of submodalities, it's going to vary from one individual to another. And of course, it's going to vary depending on the class, the type of content that the person's examining. Thus, a belief will be coded differently to something that a person doubts. How is this useful to us? Well, if you understand how an experience is coded, you can recode it. You can change the experience, code it into something else. A simple example may be a person has an unpleasant response to an image. So they have a mental image and they have an unpleasant sensations in response to the mental image. Well, if that image was moved away, was small, was the size of a postage stamp, and you had a frame around it and it was still, that is, it's not moving, and dull, for example, well that image is likely not to bother the person. I mean, a pleasant experience, ideally, great experiences we had, let's have them life-size, close, bright, colourful, probably unframed, moving, so that you can feel as if you can step back into the memory and enjoy that particular experience. So we're dealing with something that's fairly fundamental, and I think this is one of the key differences that makes the difference with this model, is the fact that we have a way in to examine an experience a person has, and thereby we can recode it, change it. So if a person has a limiting experience in some way, it can be recoded to make it more generative.